Greetings YouTube, happy holidays. Brad here, back with Aussie Truckie on Highway 31. A little bit different this week. Obviously still on holidays or just finishing up holidays, so there's no new on the road content. I was going to do a couple of live videos, but I thought there'd been enough questions asked over the time of the channel about how I got my license and that sort of thing, so I thought it was about time I showed you. So this is going to be a little bit of a death by PowerPoint, a bit of a photo show, looking back on how I got to where I am now. So I understand if it's not your thing, you don't have to watch it. That's all fair and good. But we got the computer here fired up, coming to you live from the man cave. Yeah, let's go back and look at some old family photos. Alright, so we got some photos here. Going back, 1989, moved to a large dairy property. Those in the area or know of the new location for Wodonga sale yards. That was where the dairy farm was. Just over 500 acres, or nearly 600 acres of irrigation and river flats, and there was a lot of space to roam and a lot of old stuff to play with. Old XR Falcon here. There was a gliding club. We had a runway at the main driveway as well. So we had the Albury Wodonga Gliding Club that used to use that runway. They had a hangar there and had some of these old vehicles that this here ran the wires out for the parachute and the glider for the tow motor. I think there's a photo here of that tow motor, but yeah. Old XR, no brakes, 3-speed auto, full of rust. And again, most of the things I'm going to show you, the old cars and gear in this video I'm going to show you, most of it went to the tip of the scrap, which is just a shame. But there she is there. I think there's a photo of the front, yeah. Old, late 40s, early 50s. I don't know what type of truck it was. It had a globe on the bonnet there, but someone come down and knocked that off. So old truck there, old pommy truck, I'm guessing. Where's my arrow gone there? And on the back, like a little Kia, a little diner cabin, which just had some clutches going down through to these big wire spinners, one on either side. Just a diff in the middle, and I think your two levers inside acted as brakes, more like steering clutches on a bulldozer. But it was powered by a 253 Holden V8 blue motor, and this arm would go up in the air as the cable went up and the gliders went up, and it was just a winch truck for pulling gliders up into the air. I don't have any photos or video of that, but yeah. Again, another old truck. They used to just chock the wheels. Old Valiant was there too. I can't remember what was beside it. Like an old Toyota Cressida or something. There's front of the XR. Like, all the chrome was great in it. Mirrors, all the windows were intact. Yeah, it's sitting in the grass and the tyres are rotten, but it's just, it's a shame. That's probably 20 grand sitting there now. We also had a bar, Bill's Bar, the old man's bar, where we done home brew. So all those milk crates are full of long necks, where we filled home brew. There is a cool room over here off to the side that used to be able to put a lot of stuff in as well. And just around the corner here's a Temperite, and at the back here and along that wall there's about a dozen kegs, because we'd do beer in kegs as well. The old Yamaha Ag 175 with a 125 motor. This is really my first bit of mechanicking. This thing was in parts, stacked in the back of the shed here. Obviously I've done a good job, oil on the ground. The clutch wasn't in it. I put clutch pads back together and put in it just to get this thing going. You can't see it here on the other side on the gear select. There's just a what would you call it? I can't remember what they're called now. Vice grips. There's a set of vice grips clamped on there, and you just leant down and clicked in the gear. Used to ride it everywhere. Used to go get the cows on it. great old bike that I put back together, and that's where my mechanic can sort of come into effect. Yes, there's some of the beer kegs now. That would have been for a party. Obviously, we've got the big truck tarp up in the shed. That might be the old man's 40th. Obviously, back then, the drink of choice being light ice and not Great Northern. Not much of a difference between the two, in my opinion. But again, here, that was a mate's Valiant Ute. I think it. The motor come out of that. It was a straight 6, 245 Hemi, I think they are. Or it was. It come out of that, and we put that in a Dodge tip truck, 3-ton Dodge tip truck. That's not here, but you are starting to see the first here of my first entry into trucking, and that's the Toyota Dyna 1979. There's some more photos of that. Obviously my personal touch with the Cummins stickers on either side of it. She's only a little one, but this is where my love of trucking started, driving this thing around. Our driveway was 2.5 kilometres long from here up to the Murray Valley Highway, so most of the time we drove this truck up to the top gate, up the airstrip, so it wasn't on the main road. And yeah, the old 5 in the tree was a bit tough on it, and we constantly had belly housing issues with it sagging and cracking out the belly housing and just being hard to change gears. But talk about old gear here. Another old Bedford. Used to use that. That was a farm stock truck, obviously crates on the back. Again, another nice bit of old gear I'd love to have my hands on now, even though the reason it's parked up there is because, and we'll see if we can engage Zoomatron here. Down here, it threw a leg out of bed, which I know they occasionally did. So it was, it's not going to show properly. It was, that's too small. It was no longer for this world, and unfortunately when the farm sold up in 2013, it and a lot of the gear there got taken by the scrappers. First bit of heavy equipment we had on, or was probably the most bit of heavy equipment we had on the farm. Not exactly sure of the year, but it's a D68U. I'm going to say maybe 62, 63, around that era. Cable blade, which is always fun trying to get a nice even cut on the ground, but it was testing. Pilot motor, pony motor, whatever you want to call it, and then the 6-cylinder cat in it. Great old machine. We used to take it up to our bush block, towing the discs and harrows up there, and done the final drive, done steering brakes. It just started having issues. You'd take the covers for the final drives off, and the big nuts in there holding everything together were welded shut, welded on. So it's it was someone else's piece of crap, someone else's farm tractor, and it kept on going along until it got to us. And then things started to break on it, which was not good, but good solid old machine. I mean, little man cave back then. Used to be big with the local footy club, like most country towns. Played a lot for the Barney Tigers. Didn't quite get to the 300 games, but yeah. Dyna again, and then my first car, 1975 Holden HJ Ute. It was a service vehicle for one of the local mechanics. I'd heard that he'd had 2 ton in it at one point. It cost me $1,000. A couple of little things to get it on the road, and as you'll see, I had that all the way up until 2018 when, for some reason, I still do not know, we cut her up, but we'll get to that in a little minute. So it wasn't the cleanest thing. There was a nice big dent there. No rust for the most part in it, but free in the tree. He'd taken the 202 out and put a 186 in it. And there's the Dyna again. And that's that belly housing issue we had. It used to crack the belly housing and sag a bit, which would just throw all the linkages out of whack. And then trying to get into 5th gear, you sort of had to punch it down and in, and there was a nice big crack in the dash from wherever you put it into 5th. But of course, being a farm boy, the accessories started coming, and to start with, we done the checker plate skirts, clearance lights, and a nice little aluminium bull bar on there. some flaps and the aluminium checker plate on that that used to kick up sparks going into the drive-throughs and that in town. Rocking the double CB. Don't ask me why. This was a, I'm guessing it was a high-low selector for a diff out of a Bedford truck, because there was a couple of them parked over in the corner of the property not being used. It may have also been 6 volt, not 12, because I did have some issues with fires having this here. But obviously the first port of call of putting this on was Mad Max, having the supercharger selector on the gear stick. Obviously no supercharger in the ute, but what I did do, I got a second-hand window washer bottle and put it in the front corner next to the battery, and then on the corner of the bull bar, and I carried this over to the next bull bar. I'll put on it the steel one in a minute. I put a set of window washer squirters on the sides, and when you pull that selector, it'd shoot water out at people standing at stoplights, pedestrian walkways, that sort of thing. Just stupid, immature stuff we used to do when we were young, but it was harmless fun. And then later, once I stopped doing that, that same washer reservoir was used for, I put oil in it, engine oil, and ran the tube in through the air cleaner of the engine, and pumped oil straight down the carby, because oh yeah, cat power, of course, everything's Caterpillar power. The back Kruger number plates, mud guards on the back, which I did not cut a big enough hole around the exhaust. You can't quite see it here, but the exhaust did start melting down around there because of the issues with heat. But the reason I done the oil, and we should get to the photo here in a minute. Oh, and I had hubcaps too. I was proud of my hubcaps. Yes. Not long after that last photo, I got stacks put on it. Obviously here we've got the different bull bar. Grade 9, grade 10. Wouldn't have been woodwork, it would have been engineering or something. I made a plastic bug deflector up and took it into McCracken Signs when they were working in Wodonga, and got the Chariot put on it because it was my Chariot. Yeah, typical B&S feral ute. Christmas, celebrating Christmas, had the Christmas lights on it. Again, more clearance lights on the front. You can't see in that one. No, not that one. Oh, you can in that one. Got a bug deflector, sun visor, I should say, put up on the top there too, if your 5 lights across there. Much like a truck. Here it had the powder coated 45-degree angle stacks on it, but I did get a set of straight cut stainless stacks that are on it here, because the cab's sitting right here in front of me in the shed with those stainless stacks on it. Anyway, let's start getting along here. One of the jobs I'd done while I was finishing high school was out in a cattle station or sheep station out in the Ivanhoe, central New South Wales, and that's where more motorbike mechanics, old FJ Cruisers, and a Suzuki there, and some old tractors and stuff, working on them. There's the straight cut shotties on the back of it, and I got some rain caps as well, which were incredibly loud. The poor little 186 did not like that, but eventually the stockies come off, and some big fat rubber went under it, and some cat mud flaps on the rear. She's sitting up a bit high there. It wasn't sitting up that high when we got to the end of its life. Oh yes, down the farm here, charade. Learning to drive the fun way down the farm. Grandma. Four-wheel drive's parked in shed without handbrakes on. The old man's cruiser decided to run down out of the shed and park its way there. Back to the ute again. This is when I was in the doing labouring in swimming pools. Once I got back from the army, there's a ton of pool sand and salt in the back of it there. I had to yeah, cut out to a job at Bonagilla. There's the pool there in the background, but she was pretty loaded up, and the poor little 186 knew she had a load on. Yeah. And then one day I decided I want to take the 186 out of it. I ended up spending about $5 to have this. I'm pretty sure it's a 308. I can't remember what it was now, whether it was a 308 or a 253, but had it built, had it painted. One Christmas I brought myself the party hat for it to take that out. Obviously had the musical air horns, Kukukaracha, just air horns, and the Aruga air horn as well. There's the water bottle there that had oil, and you can see the line going up here. I ain't get it. No, that's a coil, but it goes into the back of the cap there too. And then obviously here you can see we started getting some bad blow by, so I had a bit of 1/4 inch garden poly pipe going down along the chassis rail out to the back, so at least the oil would go out the back of the car and not fill the engine bay up. Anyway, farming, harvesting, which I just had to do with the similar old gear. My brother's Hilux, he's done his apprenticeship at Hartwig's Trucks in Albury, and obviously the trucking was in the blood. It's wrapping silage, carting hay, carting more hay, using old trailers as farm equipment, putting the big motor in it. Now, for those that don't know too, the HJ was the last of the all-round drum brakes, because there wasn't a V8 option for the Ute or the sedan. Only the HJ Monaro, which of course had discs on it. So me being ignorant at the time, and the Ute barely liked to stop back in the day as well. If I'd gone through with all this and had that motor in it on drum brakes all 4 round, then I probably wouldn't be here talking to you. It would have been extremely lethal. My sister's 30th, I think that is, I decided to go as a pirate ship. It was a pirate theme, so I dressed up as a pirate ship. Fishing down the river, Christmas chariot again. We've got video, cows eating silage. This would just be getting close to 2013 now, where we sold up and left. But there's some of the dairy cows. Most of the herd got sold off to another dairy farm near Catamatite, so most of them stayed together. Started selling stuff off the farmers. We're getting ready to move out, so the diner eventually went as well. Here the bull bar's off it. The bull bar went onto my F truck. That there may be a photo or two here, but this bloke come down from Bathurst in this FJ, and he was towing this 3-ton diner back up to Bathurst in it. Stock diesel, 2H motor in it with R. But, yeah, young fella out. Of course, the Ute stayed in the shed for a while, and the V8 come back out, and I sold it. I ended up going to Canberra and getting another 186 and put that in it, which done the rest of its life. But then the time come where it was time to scrap it, so the tyres come off it, bull bar come off it. I took it down the block for some last few pleasure shots before we started stripping her out. But there was a time in the army I'd end up sending for it in 2003, and it went up to Townsville. The doors on it, the driver's door kept on popping open, and the window wiper didn't work, winder didn't work anymore, so I ended up going to a wreckers up there and getting 2 new brown doors for it, which stayed on for the rest of its life. But that Yamaha ag bike I showed you at the beginning, they're the blinkers off it. They're the little memento I kept off that bike when it got thrown out. There's a little amber marker indicator lights on the front. But yeah, we started to scrap it. Got the young fella in there to help me. 186 come out of it. Bull bar come off it, and she started to not look like its original self. Now I wish I hadn't. You can buy ball joints, you can buy pretty much all new components for these things now. to make it brand new again. But we cut her right down. That come off it. That's still on the veranda. I was going to make either a chair or a barbecue or something out of it. That's never been done. It's still sitting on the veranda. Get the 9-inch in there. So again, stainless. Down the back, I don't know, we might spark the YouTube copyright fun police here if we look at any of the stickers on the back. It did go to Denny once. Yeah, okay. Nothing to see there. Oh, there, that was the plan. That big footy master was going to go in there, but it never happened. And then, last of all, we had the body, which, there, it's still sitting in the shed. Doors are back on. I'm looking at it right now. It's, don't know why, but that's her sitting in the corner of the shed. Come on. Oh, that might be into those ones. So that's that anyway. That's growing up. So we'll get moving along here. There's not a lot more to see. Then come the army. 2001. I'd finished school. Didn't know what to do with my life. Didn't really want to stay at home on the farm. I had a mate at school that was signed up for the army. I had a bit of a look at it and decided, yep, rightio, we're going to go in as truck drivers in transport. I wanted to go in as an engineer. Obviously the army showing all their recruitment videos. Driving out west, Max, dogs, floats, carton tanks, carton graders and excavators and dozers out to remote communities and doing all that sort of stuff. I thought that would have been great. That's what the brochure said anyway, but yeah. Some of it was. I ended up going to transport and being attached to some of the units. This is up at near 10 FSB in Townsville, out on the mud flats. Just mud flats and anything heavy is not good. Especially the heavier it is, the quicker it seems to sink. Yeah, it was a bad day for everyone. Even the Merlots down. Just don't go out in mud flats. That would be a Reggie Ball. There you go, 2024. Scraper. When we done our MAC course, we drove from Townsville down to Sydney to Garden Island. You can't see here, that's 100 k's and that's 120, so we got her up to 110 going downhill, which was good for an arm-bottled Mac. But here we are back. Some of you will recognise this, dropping down to the big bridge at on the M1 heading out of Melbourne, going north. Hunter Express, no, not Hunter Expressway, whatever it is, but yeah, we stayed at Garden Island where the Navy base is there. Got up close with some ships, got a photo in front of the bridge, got to see some gear coming up back through Rockhampton and that. And this is, I suppose I should go into it too. This is how I got my truck license. Went into the army. You started with the Land Rovers and the Unimog course, which is your basic driver's course. After about 12 months of that, I went up to Townsville to, what can I see here? Oh, some doodles on the wall. More doodles on the wall. To 5th Aviation Squadron at Townsville, and they only had a small transport department there, so luckily after 12 months, and also we're on the RAF base, so all the jets coming in as well. Driver's course pucker. So this is a driver's course. A lot of people, young soldiers, never driven before, getting instructed through the tank runs. So your basic course was the Rover and the new Unimog. Just getting out, full driving in them, learning how to drive. Driving up and down the highway, being nuisances, doing your 80k convoy speed. That, if you see, oh, that Unimog there, top of the bonnet there, that's what's up to that Unimog there. That's the whole bonnet's in the water. That dam was a little bit deeper than they expected, and I'm sure an instructor got a kick in the arse that day. But Yeah, done. Oh, don't do that. Done that. Went to 5 Ave, which I haven't got photos here for anyway, but that was up there with the Black Hawks and the Chinooks. After about 12 months, we got put on the driver's course for Mac, which is your HR, and again out full driving, taking the Macs off road, full chassis twists, the whole work and jerk. And then it wasn't too far after that, we hooked up the well, it'd be these ones here. Hooked up the 20-ton dog trailers on the back, and even though they're not in any of these photos, I don't know why they're not, but that's when we went down to Sydney with the Macs and dogs, and got me heavy combination that way. I don't think there's anything at School of Arty. Ended up my time in the army down the School of Artillery at Puckapunyal, just as the Bushmasters were coming in, so I got to see them come into effect. Love the old R models, the old Flintstones, but got to do some pretty cool stuff down at the School of Artillery as well, with the big guns, the 105s going off, and the mortars would visit at times as well when there was an exercise on. Just boom, just blowing shit up. I'd love to know how the range, what the range practices are now, because I'm sure you couldn't go down and just blow shit up. Big shells laying on the ground, just nice. And there's one of the 190s, I think they are, the big gun that the Mac tows. I never got to see one of them fire, but doofus me driving a Land Rover ambulance. I suppose I'll quickly show you these. The Operation Changju that happened down there, they got some VIPs up to watch the military play around with itself. F-111 pig coming in here, dropping some heavy ordnance on the bush. And you look how dry the grass is around it, and it's not out in the open too, like they're going up into the bush there, so that's sparking fires. A bit more ordnance, tanks with their mine clearing apparatus on the front. Yeah. So, oh, no, that's the end of them ones. Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't. Or was it? Oh yeah, yep, setting more fires. And then the mortars, back to the mortars, so yeah, so anyway, going through the army channels, doing the driver's course that way. Again, it was only your basic sort of road rules and that sort of stuff, because a lot of your driving was on base or off on the range, where different rules come into play anyway. But that was probably 20. I was 19 when I joined up. By the age of 20, I was driving the Max, and it would have been the same year, or 21. I was driving the Max with the dogs on the back, which is classed as a heavy combination. And then when I got out, I went to TAFE. Part of getting out of the army, they paid for me retraining, which at the time I'd spent $650 on getting me earth moving tickets, excavator, dozer, and wheel loader. When the last week we're at TAFE, one of the local forestry mobs rang up and said, "Have you got any new digger drivers there that want to get a job in the forestry?" And I said yes, not knowing the horrors I was about to go into up around Myrtleford, Tumut, Tumbarumba, on the excavator. Obviously some of us didn't get out in one piece, with these log grabs, a log rake on the front, stick rake, basically just going around windrowing the pines that had been picked and felled so they could be burnt and replanted, and learning really quickly the limits of an excavator. As you can see here, this was up near Tumut, I believe. Digger on its side, but most of it was old Dash 5s. He had the TD25 dresses as well, which good solid bits of gear. Never got to get into the dozers though. I was stuck in the excavators, but we done up. I need some photos up at Myrtleford. Again, just clearing, raking, getting the windrows here done so they can be burnt. Not touching anything in the creeks, so it didn't promote erosion. The excavators, mine didn't here, but some of them had had a bit higher grouses welded onto them, bits of Rio and that to make the grouses a bit higher. Some of them were lucky enough to have actual dozer grouses put on, but that's lightning strikes in the pine forest. That's where lightning's hit and killed everything in that diameter. Bit of before and after there of that road and all the shit on it and being cleaned up afterwards. Working the angles, working more angles. That must have been all dead timber or fallen timber that was no good for picking, for harvesting. Know a lot of Myrtleford. Must have been a wet day. They're getting hairy up. Up around Myrtleford, Beechworth and that, you had a lot of issues with mine shafts. You'd go and push a blackberry bush out of the way here, like you can see, and you'd reveal a mine shaft or something. Fires burn. There's another one too. Just a top of mine shaft sitting there. There's another one. So they're everywhere, and at least on an excavator you got the boom out the front. You can sort of save yourself where the poor dozer drivers, you'd shit bricks. But up at Tumut here, we started getting some of the steep stuff, and see that dozer there's that one there's got the dozer cleats on it. D8R, I think. Just working the excavators. And unfortunately, because I was doing all this work with grab work, and this is steep hills here, you can only work from the top to the bottom because the machine hasn't got the power or the ability to climb up from the bottom for the most part, especially in some of these steep bits. And when you come down, you might not be able to see it there. You got the stumps to use as a sort of a wheel chock. That one there's been smashed because obviously come down onto that. Yeah, trying to not slide down the hills, and of course you did get sticks come through the window every now and then. But one of the dresses, fueling her up, and then he also had some other old gear here too. We got an old T-Rex belly dumper where we'd clean out creeks for the local council. Here we are carting sand, stockpiling sand out of this creek, which there should be here. So this creek would have been silted right up, but we're going through and digging it down, getting the sand out, and improving water flow through that stream. This was near Wangaratta when this was done, and of course, sand being sand, you're likely to get stuck. And these big set of log grabs, this machine come out of Tasmania where he'd been working on a platform down there loading log trucks, and just it was the wrong set of grabs to have on this machine up in the hills. Just the way she's rocking, no wonder it went arse over head. So he might go for a slide there, but he didn't. We got a couple more here. He's using the boom here to push himself up the hill, and now you go for a slide when he tries and lifts the boom. Oh no, he's hanging on there. bringing the dipper arm in, again pushing yourself back up the hill. And this one's got dozer cleats on it, so it just, excavators aren't built to be on that sort of an angle, pushing themselves up a hill like that. What's the other one? He might be just coming up over the top of the hill here. Yeah. But that's how steep, and like you can't even see the bottom of that hill there. It just goes away to nothing. But that was as soon as we got out of the army. We went into excavator work, and then all of a sudden the excavator work combined with mulching and that sort of thing. It started, leave me F truck. Started with an old W model and a big green chipper, doing all the green waste mulching at local tips, council jobs, housing developments, all that sort of thing. A little bit newer, -6 digger, Komatsu 20 tonner, and there's the old Toro tub grinder. Both of these wood grinders, V12 Caterpillars twin turbo power plants in them, just big hunks of iron. And that Western Star, the amount of time I've spent driving that up little roads, tiny roads, steep hills, no power. That tub grinder is about 25 ton, and that Western Star knew it was behind it. She was pretty flogged out, low on power. But that was the green waste side of it. All the maintenance that come along with it as well. That Dash 5 ended up getting a new set of tracks and track gear put on it. That's the 30 tonner we had, the Dash 5 30 tonner, and the W model in the back. Which I suppose we go these ones. Council, that was a firewood job after bushfire went through. Bringing the digger home from Melbourne, and that cat always used to have a problem with a wire coming off and the fuel pump just stopping, cutting out. Here we are on the side of the Craigieburn bypass, minding our own business, when someone on their phone decided to just smash into the back of the float. No damage done to us, but obviously they weren't moving 30 ton of excavator and 15 ton of truck and float, so idiots. We had the big shears on as well. Me work ute, the Hilux. This is on the Hunter Expressway up at Newcastle, Hunter Valley. When we were up there building that, got to see some big bits of gear up there as well. And then of course planking come in. I don't know why I included those, but more on the Hunter Expressway up there clearing. That's joint near Wangaratta, back to that. And the old W model. It think it was only 400 cat or something, and it was underpowered. Having that machine on the back, or even the excavators, it did not like hills. Suppose a bit of Hume history here. Fairburn Road, just north of, or just south of Womargama, when we're clearing that. New freeway goes off here. The Womargama turnoff is just over the hill here, where it used to go into town. Knocking big trees over, making a mess, all that sort of thing. Gate 6, where was gate 6? Cartwright's float. Blue Metal, just south of Blue Metal Hill, near the old homestead. That's where this is. Abbey Group's machines. That's our Sumitomo there, loading out timber, scrapers, 8T, and me. Abbey Group and other contractors got all this brand new gear, which of course repayments are going to the bank and everything else. This old Dash 5, it cleared a lot of the Hume Highway between Edamogo or Tabletop and Tarcutta. He barely spent a cent on it. This machine would have made him a fortune, just by not having to pay pay the bank while you're also paying people to drive it. We ended up with that water cart too, somehow. We had it for a year or two. Holbrook Bypass and the swamp that was. Flick through these, a big cut at the north end of town. Southern interchange. Obviously this is during summer. During winter, that was just mud and crap everywhere. Northern interchange. Getting ready. More gear. That servo on the southern end of town hadn't been built yet, obviously. New alignments, all that sort of stuff. We'll get moving along here. So anyway, that was what happened after then. 2011 that stopped, and we started moving into trucks full time. What am I going to do here? Driving for Woolworths out of the Logic Centre at Barnawatha North. Taking cold. I was doing the night runs up to that's under Belconnen in Canberra. That's Young at the Woolworths at Young. That had a cat in it, that SAR. That was a awesome bit of gear until they speed limited to 92 because everyone kept on speeding in it. Got in the W model. This is a bit later when I started doing the kegs as well. One of a very select few Seattle cab versions of the W model that come over here from the States. What we got here? Oh yes, prangs. Prangs are plenty. He decided to go off there. Very lucky. He didn't keep on going through that tree. There she is again. Gundy being flooded. We touched on this a couple of videos back when the big floods went through in 2013. Also out at Griffith. Leeton. Boss had a DAF XR 105, I think, and got stuck on the side of the highway for that. The Woolies stuff evolved into kegs. That was a trip up to Burke, taking the lavs up for a changeover for some reason. I think I've mentioned before in the channel the changing the turbo on the side of the highway with me $15 super cheap spanner set. Well, that's what happened there. Load of pipes out of Melbourne back to here, then out to Griffith. That was a fatal at Burley Griffith Way. More a Holbrook video. Coming over Kyandra. Used to go up by the end of the Woolly stuff. I was the man going up to Jindabyne and Cooma, and you'd cut back across Kyandra, and she used to be frosty. There's the DAF, snow on the ground, sunsets, ice. I think -9 was the coolest I've ever come up over there. Toll's got a new delivery. Overloaded holidays. Truckies going to sleep. Beer. That's the Linfox CUB storage area at Truganina, however you want to say it. More kegs. This is getting out of the brewery. This is a B double trying to get out back on Victoria Street, and having to take up the oncoming lane as well. No, he's not going to. Just to get back out. And there's a the white line for the giveaway is back a fair way here, but if people come over it or if the trams overrun it, you've got no hope. But he done that pretty well. That was one reason why I didn't want to do kegs or do the B double with kegs getting out of that brewery. But Kyandra in the winter, 11HU, that thing had a Detroit in it that used to crack. That was a nice truck, that one. More whoopsies. One of Booth's in the middle. Here it is now. Playing through the thing, but yeah, more whoopsies. Oh, what was that? That was something getting built somewhere. More whoopsies, more snow. that was probably the worst I've had to come over there. Was you just seen the wheel marks in the snow ahead of you. But then that ended. I ended up getting straight into another job. I kept doing the beer kegs. Luckily, Jeff Lewington took over the contract for the beer kegs, so he bought a second-hand 200, and I was able to keep on doing that up until 2018, when Toll lost the contract for it. And then my trucking sort of ended in 2018. Got in with one of the local sellers at Twin City Truck Sales in Wodonga, and started picking up brand new trucks out of the factory in Melbourne, bringing them up, running them to various spots. At any given time, there was about 360 trucks between the factory and being delivered. Going up to Wagga to Mr. Bullbar, Cobram for sign writing, Corowa for window tinting, out to Altona for the airboxes. That's driving a brand new one off the line down there, and that was good. That was a real good job. A lot of these trucks, oh, you're not going to see there because of the. You might see there. Yeah, it's got 380 Ks on it. Brand new SAR. It was great, but yeah, couldn't find the right job to go to, so that was it for trucks. Ended up at Piggery at Corowa for a little bit, making some delicious pork products. Got into maintenance out there, again being mechanical, which was good. Sort of got away from just the normalcy of thing. The Twin City job, basically the only reason I left there was it was a casual job, and it was really suited for retirees. You only had 3 or 4 runs a week, and it just wasn't paying the bills. So I suppose in the meantime there too, the old man was driving. He'd stopped milking cows and started driving for Toll Logging out of Albury, driving the 650 there. And I went for a few runs with him each night as well. But yeah, that's it for the slideshow, so I'll stop that. But yeah, basically there just wasn't enough hours that I could get in for the Twin City job, so it ended, which was unfortunate. But went and done a stint for a scrap yard. He had a couple of old Kenworths and that, one with an old Detroit in it. Again, getting back on the excavator, but there was issues there as well, and just the time had come. I'd been off the road for 5 years, for the most part, and I thought, well, I was hired as an excavator driver there, but all of a sudden I was starting to go out and drive the single, the tippers around, floating gear around, and I thought, well, if I'm going to get back in the truck and do this, I'm going to get in the truck and do it full time and do it, and not flog that old gear with cracked windscreens and poor maintenance. So that's where we are. That's where we are now. Ad in the paper, ad on Facebook for a permanent Canberra driver, and gone into that. As I said earlier, there'd been a couple of times where people had thrown the offer to me when the kegs ended with Toll. Jeff had said, "You want? I'll give you a B double license, and you can do toll work," which back then was Express Altona to Eastern Creek, and that I wasn't. There was no interest in that whatsoever. Working a 6-day week, which I'd come to work a 6-day week when I was at the Piggery by then, but that's a different story. The money was there, but yeah, just I think it all stems back to when I was at Woolworths. The drivers, I think they were getting 3 or 4 cents a k more for towing the extra trailer, and then you had to split it. There was no Woolies stores in Canberra that would take a B double. It all had to be split, and it wasn't worth it then. I still don't think it's worth it now. Again, it's just more and more companies carry more and more freight because shit has to be urgent, express, overnight, that sort of stuff. Yeah, and now all these new combinations as well. So, but anyway, that's gone long enough. So if you're still watching at the end, thank you. When I'm recording this, I was supposed to go back to work today, being Monday, but work sent me a message on Saturday saying there's only a rigid on the Monday to go to Canberra, so if you want it, you can have it. If not, I'll give it to the other bloke. So I said, hey, yeah, I'll take an extra day off. So I wasn't able to do some filming on the road Monday today for this week's video. So next week, we're back on the highway. Not looking forward to it, but I've had a bit of a refresh over Christmas, the Christmas break. So we are, yeah, we're about to get into it. Like, that's about it. So thank you for watching. If you're still sticking around me by or sticking by the end of this, apologies to channel members. Because I wasn't at work, no video, extra video got put up the last 2 weeks, so I apologise for that, but that will change. That'll change probably this week. You'll probably get one Friday with me grumbling about what the first few days back at work have been like. But that's it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching another video, and I'll catch you next week where we will be back in the truck. See yous.